Good morning, YouTubers and tuberettes. It's a Monday. It's about 6 in the morning or so. Couldn't sleep. Well, actually, I did sleep. I went back to bed early last night. Boy, I was tired. It was crazy. It was like, it wasn't even 9 o'clock yet when I fell asleep. And so, anyway, I guess early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise, according to Benjamin Franklin. However, he's dead. What does he know? Anyway, the I'm glad to be back to work. And I wanted to let you know about this idea. The other day, I was trying to figure this darn thing out. We got into a project. I did a real short vid on it the other day out there on the site. We were digging and digging and digging underneath this lady's house. And the way we build here in southern New Mexico is on slab. It's a concrete slab. So if you want to work on the plumbing under there, that means you're digging under the house. And the young guy I've been working with, by golly, he got with it. He had a cave going on down there. I've never seen anything like it. We were almost 4 feet tall on the trench to work underneath the thing. It was like that was a lot of dirt to pull out. So I was trying to fuss around in my mind late last week, trying to figure out, well, how are we going to get this dirt back in here? And I've sort of explained it to you. If you can imagine a hollowed out area underneath the house, well, our entrance point is down here. How are you going to fill a hole from the bottom? Usually we fill holes from the top around here. We're kind of particular about things that way. So as the sermon was going on yesterday, this is kind of funny. Young Davalos was preaching, and it was an okay sermon. And he was talking about how the Lord he fills, and how he expects us to also fill and expand, kind of fill the land, kind of idea. Have families and stuff, start businesses, start enterprises, be clever, make something. And so he was talking about filling and filling. Anyway, I thought, hey, I know how to fill that hole. I finally figured it out. Well, sort of. So what we're going to do today, I have never done this before, and I certainly hope it works. But I thought, well, we'll do is we'll get some cardboard boxes. We'll go down, the plumbing warehouse. When they unpack stuff, they keep the boxes. They don't smash them and don't throw them away, because the product going out the door with their customers, they'll just put it in a box. Here, carry that out. And it's kind of handy that way. So they usually have a big old pile of boxes back there. And I thought, well, I'm going to go get me about a dozen boxes about yay big, like that. And we'll just set them in there empty, and then just start filling them with dirt inside. Now, all I have to do is square the box up so that it's a vertical shot. We're essentially going to build a dirt wall by filling up boxes, and then we'll have a premier edge or a front. And then once it's established to, say, plus 3 feet, we can throw dirt over it, behind it, and this will act as a retaining wall on the inside. Now all we're going to do is have to figure out how to top it off. That part is going to get kind of sketchy. I think we're just going to have to push that in by hand. But the young guy that I had down there, we call him Nemo. That's not his real name. Actually, he prefers that name. So I said, what do you go by? I mean, how do you identify yourself? He said Nemo. I said, okay, that's going to be your name. Anyway, Nemo was down there, and he was doing a real good job, and he was working like crazy, but it's just too much work. We was so slow trying to get that mud in there last Friday. Of course, we only did it that way for about 2.5, 3 hours. And I think I learned in that 3 hours we don't want to do this. It would take 5 or 7 days to fill that hole that way. And I thought, nah. So I'm going to see if we can speed it up today, even if I got to be the one on the inside and he's throwing me dirt. I don't care. But obviously, I was preparing the dirt outdoors, get a little moisture in it, I told him, you want to have it consistency so that if you want to have a mud ball fight with your little brother, you want to be able to capture up a thing of mud and have it hold together at least enough to bang somebody in the head with it. So you don't want it sloppy. You don't want it running out of your hands like, a pancake mix or something. But you don't want it tough either, because that dirt is just amazing. It's got that clay in there. So anyways, I was kind of sitting here this morning just sort of speculating, like, how's this going to really... And I can kind of imagine it, and so that's the way I work, is that I kind of ask myself a question. I ask the Lord, how are we going to solve this? I don't get this. How do you fill a hole from the bottom? And we're going to give it a try today. Now, it may not be 100% successful, but I just didn't want to have to carry off, like 3 yards of dirt or something like that. A yard of dirt is 1 cubic yard of what I mean, but that's what we've got, a lot of dirt out there on the ground trying to get it back in there. And I don't think it's structural at all. I think we could put a plywood cover on the thing and walk off, it'd be fine. In other words, structurally, the house, the concrete's as old as I am. It's 65 years old, and I'll be 65 very soon. So when you get into old concrete, concrete never really stops setting up, I guess you'd call it. It's always chemically active. But of course, the speed of the reaction slows way down. But the short version is uh, really old concrete. Anything over 40-year-old concrete is going to be very hard to break. And we had a brand new breaker on there with a nice sharp chisel, and it would barely touch it. We could ping off 1/4 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch of that stuff at a time. And you try to plow into it to break off a big chunk, you're just going to get the bit stuck. Need a bigger breaker is what we need. So at any rate, I was just kind of thinking about this. Sometimes, when we look at our world, it seems like the world is such a mess. It's like so badly out of skew. I mean, out of skew, it's skewed. It's not following the path of righteousness. It's not following the path of logic. It's not following the path of integrity. It's not following the path of truth. It's like a gang of career criminals on a spree. You see these videos of folks, I guess they're just looting at will. I guess now, I guess, is it considered inappropriate to bust people for looting or shop theft? What's it called? Shoplifting. I don't know. The world has officially declared itself to be insane in many ways, and so you, my friend, daughter, mother, sister, however you're related, if you're a female, son, brother, dad, nephew, the connections that you have with real people, person to person, this person's my second cousin, this person's my granddad, this person's my niece, this person's, we relate to each other, and then of course there's friends and co-workers and fellow believers and stuff. Those are the connections that I think I've been thinking today, is that those are the ones we need to pay attention to, because the powers that be are essentially trying to shear you off. They're trying to make you feel alienated. They're trying to make you feel like you're all alone. Guess what? That's a lie. And the only way that you could think that is if you're watching this thing that you're looking at right now, the computer net. It's through the computer networks that these claims are being made. So the alienation is a lie. It's fostered by an artificial connection through the cyber digital algorithm. I keep pointing back to the phone. So it's funny, this is turning out to be a rather continuing idea in these short talks, that we need to minimize the amount of time we have online. We need to maximize the amount of time we have in prayer, remembering the Word, consulting with Him in prayer, but relating to real human beings who actually move around and breathe and stuff. The faces we see on the internet, the memes that arise, and all of the hubbub thereon too. How they have these phrases like this meme broke the internet, broke it, meaning a bunch of people watched it. Oh, that was it. Why did that break anything? But what breaks is our hearts, and at the center of our heart is a sense that we don't want our lives to be wasted. We want to have been here for a reason. Why was I even here? What was I doing? I don't remember getting my assignment. There used to be an old TV show, Greatest American Hero. And it was a clever show for its time. But the great thing about it was Ralph. I think that was the superhero's name was Ralph. He got this suit from an alien, and when you wear the suit, you have like superpowers. Well, they gave him a set of instructions on how to use the thing, and he lost the instructions. So, like when he flew, he was always flying pretty bad, like Wah! Crashing into walls and stuff. And I can't remember. I think he had like kind of the equivalent of X-ray vision or something. I can't remember what all his powers were. He was wearing this goofy-looking red costume, and but we're a little bit like that. I think that's why the show succeeded. Is that we're all walking around thinking, I didn't get my set of instructions. What am I supposed to be doing down here? And I think honestly that what we're supposed to be doing down here is we're supposed to be killing abstractions. You want to put it that way? Killing abstractions. You know what I mean? As an example, take the modern idea of everything's racist nowadays. I mean, you talk about an ice cream cone, that's racist. Well, then let's talk about the opposite of an ice cream cone, whatever that would be. I guess a cone with goopy stuff that melted? I don't know. What's the opposite of an ice cream cone? I don't know. But that's racist too. See, everything's racist. Well, at the bottom of the whole racist debate is this idea of the dignity of man, the creature, in the image of God. In other words, if you're a human being, by virtue of being a human being, you are de facto made in the image. You have dignity, and your calling then is, at least the very minimum, is to reconnect with your maker, the master who put us here, and is calling us to our destiny. What's our destiny? Him. To interact with him, to embrace him, to be embraced by him, to be connected to his route, to his way. And so, in other words, I call him the great abstraction killer. We're here for decency. We're all about decency here. Well, decency is an abstraction. He's the one who's decent. And as you interact with him, you might become a little bit more decent too. Wouldn't hurt. But in other words, there are things people, I want riches, I want power. Well, guess what? He's the author of power, and he is himself the treasure. He's the pot of gold at the proverbial end of the rainbow. He is the treasure himself. And so, as the abstraction killer, we're all constantly promoting, we want fairness, we want ethical treatment, we want blah, 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 we want something. Always complaining down here on this end. In the world, that's all we ever hear. And I think far too often I hear it out of my own mouth too. But the point is that everybody's looking for a kind of a significance. I want to make a contribution. My contribution might be, I invented with cardboard boxes how to fill holes upside down. That might have been my great contribution to civilization. Who knows? But I like coming up with inventive answers like that, which I had never really considered before. And why would anyone ever do it that way? Oh, but in this sense, you might need to, that kind of thing. I love trying to figure things out like that. But in other words, he, the abstraction killer, he's the reality himself. Mr. Reality to you. And King Reality, Lord Reality. And the real is good. It's like when you eat a tree ripened peach. Tree grown, I hope it's tree grown. Tree ripened peach, and you bite into that sucker and it's just like, now that's food. Or the idea where you sit down to a big old slice of watermelon or something like that and you think, it's a hot day. And you get that big old thing in your mouth and you're thinking, that's just what I was hungry for on a hot day. I mean, it's nice and cold and crunchy and everything wet, and it's like, it's an ideal summertime food. And we're almost running out of summer here pretty quick. In another week or two, I guess we're going to shift over into autumn. Never have figured out why autumn has an end at it. Why don't they just AUTUM? Make it TUMM if you want. What's the N doing in there? Autumn. Nobody says that. And so when we get to work today and, all the clatter and all the noise and all the hubbub and all the push, push, push and what the heck and let's make it happen. And well, we ain't got time for this and all that boom, boom, boom. At the center of it is the calm who is the peaceful one. And he's also the furious storm. A little bit like being around a hurricane. This guy, there's a calm at the center, and don't you get mixed up with him on the outside because he's going to tear you up. That's the way hurricanes are. And when we have so much going on in the world, it's easy to get down, it's easy to get scared, it's easy to get weirded out. I mean, and just like disgusted, just really disgusted at how depraved everyone apparently is in power. The environment out there is just toxic in terms of, if you think of it from an ethical perspective. It's an ethical waste dump. You'd have to go in there with those EPA bunny suits, with a full environmental thing going on. But anyhow, I just wanted to do a quick vid this morning. I tried to do one yesterday after church, and I reviewed it, and I thought, well, you look at these things and you think, would I buy a used scar from that man? Probably not. So I want to present a face to you, which it won't be a distraction, which won't make you wonder yet further, has this guy gone off the rails too? We all have our good days, we all have our bad days. But on your better days, I swear, on my better days, it's those days where I realized it's only now, right at this moment, N-O-W, we just passed it, went by. There's where we meet our Maker. There's where we meet our Lord. So it's great that his word is written down because you can read it and kind of linger over it, stretch the moment a little bit, stretch the moment. And it's in the now of today, and he will be faithful. And in the now of tomorrow, he will be faithful. And we remember and we recite in the nows in our past, he proved faithful. And so we're beginning to think, hey, this looks like a pattern. So we recollect his goodness, we enjoy his goodness currently, and we anticipate that there comes a day where all the clouds go away, all the darkness disappears, and in that bright shining light of his presence, rejoicing we are not currently capable of experiencing. We don't know how to be that glad, not yet. But he's learning us. He's learning us good. And the way you learn how to be glad is by embracing the dark, the sadness, and just admitting, how bad this really hurts, and how I wish it wasn't this way. And he heals us. He may heal our body, and he may not. He's sovereign. But he heals the heart. He heals our attitude. He heals my want to. Because that's what happens, isn't it? Is that when things get real southy and horrible, you just want to walk away. You just want to say, screw this. I'm out of here. And so, if you're thinking about suicide now or anything like that, I've been there. And with the Lord's, hey, there goes my alarm clock. I don't really want to record that going beep, beep, beep for the next 5 minutes. So I'll just wrap this up here. I do set it for 6:25, so at least I know what time it is now. I got to be out of here in about an hour, and I just wanted to encourage you today. As the dark increases, guess what? The light increases, and that's him in you. And so you got to be willing to shine in your own way and in your own world with the real people you actually deal with. Say hello, and if you have to, pretend to like them at first, but learn to like people, learn to appreciate them, and you'll do better. And the thing that keeps you sane in the middle of all the twisting and turning and knuckleheadery is the vision. What were we attempting to build here? And he's already built it. It's a bridge from here to there. You might look a little bit like Jacob's ladder, angels ascending and descending between two worlds. He's set up a doorway between his world and our world. And there's now a contractual link, a covenantal link, that's unbreakable. He will gather all his children in. Hey, if I just use that little beep, beep, beep thing, it'd be kind of like a metronome, and I could maybe get my language to sound a little bit more rhythmic. How annoying would that be? You guys have a good day. Work hard. Get yourself something good to eat today. I like some fresh fruit on a hot day. God bless you, and run fast, run to win.